This world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So
This place
it's
we call America.
yeah, man. So speaking of America, yeah, we saw some things this week, folks, and we saw a pro-Trump rally turn into an insurrection of sorts, where they
No, not
raided.
of sorts, an
Ain't
insurrection.
no sorts in it, man.
No
That's
sorts. There you go.
Yeah.
You are right. Yes, you are right. We saw it turn into an insurrection where they invaded the United States Capitol right here in Washington, D.C., not too far from where us three live. So, gentlemen, who wants to talk about it first? Who wants to jump in?
Man, they showed they lily white racist asses. This is America in full exposure. It's been happening the whole 4 years that this jackass has been in office. But this right here was the collaboration of all the bullshit that he has put this world through come to fruition. And yeah, these people just can't handle the change. It was disgusting. This is the ugliest, definitely the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my 42 years of living.
I have so much to say about it. I'm gonna try to keep it short, but this isn't something that we didn't, at least I didn't. A lot of circles that I talked to didn't see coming. This is a bad child that you never discipline, who always got away with things, who you assume they learn their lesson the first time, and the slaps on the wrist that you give them weren't enough for them to turn full scale and change their ways. So as much as people are not going to want to hear this, we kind of brought it on ourselves. We brought it on ourselves by not taking it seriously. And not, they say if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. So
Yes.
this was repeating of things that we already. Nobody that has a slogan that says "Make America Great Again," undefined, should have put everybody on the lawn. Like, what are you talking about? What age are you talking about to make great again? Because great for majority ain't great for minority. And I think that we don't give enough credit to the people that know numbers. And what I mean by that is they do know that this country is changing. So the majority is becoming the minority. And the one thing that they fear is everything they set in place that give them an advantage. The white privilege that they plausibly deny, or the things that they say that, isn't real, you know what I mean? And try to act as if everybody has an equal and fair opportunity, when most minorities know that it's not that case. What they're afraid of is everybody being equal. The very slogan that they love to tout is that, the home of the free, land of the brave, and every man created equal. That's a farce, and what we're seeing is the threaten, the reaction or the fear from being threatened of being equal. Come to fruition. That's basically what this is. They're stealing this from us. Stealing what from you? Are we stealing land? Are we stealing, jobs? Because, the unemployment rate is sky high right now. Are we stealing, your property? What are we actually stealing from you? What's happening is they're afraid of the ideologies that they've grown and learned to love being threatened. And the only thing that most minorities want is that you to keep your word. If you tell us that we can excel here, we want that opportunity to do that. If you tell us that this is the land of the free and the home of the brave, we want an opportunity to see that. You know what I mean? But don't tell us that, we can accomplish all these things while at the same time holding our shirts as we excel through this race called life. And that's basically what's happening. And we're living in a stage of, and I give credit to Roland Martin for this, is we're living in a stage of white fear. And that's what you saw happening this past Wednesday, is white fear coming to pass. That's it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's it's crazy to say the least, right? But I definitely feel like just watching all of this stuff, as I told friends earlier today as we were speaking, this is stuff that if you've been paying attention, no one should be surprised about, right?
Absolutely not.
You know, and I mean, definitely since Obama was elected, guns, like purchase of guns have gone up. Also, on top of that, you know, people becoming joining and signing up for these militias. You know, more groups have popped up over the years than almost any other time in this country, and it's so has like people signing up for it as well. So yeah, it's one of those things that, like, you know, like you were saying about folks not being disciplined or checked. They know for a fact that, like, you know, when they've shown up to different rallies or when they occupied a state park out on the West Coast,
right,
and a long list of other things that that has happened. They've virtually gone unchecked for most of what they've done. And so it's no surprise that they thought it was a good idea to just run up in the U.S. Capitol. And people got everything from pipe bombs was found on people to
Molotov cocktails.
They brought nooses, bro. They brought nooses.
Yeah,
hung nooses and walked around with Confederate flags. Like, how the fact that the thing that pisses me off the most is that a lot of those people are gonna get off scot-free.
Yeah,
that's what pisses me off the most. Like, you keep telling us that these type of things don't happen, then we see it with our very own eyes, and then you say, well, you know, it's an excuse for why they should go free. That's the part that pisses me off the most. You know what I mean? And that's what I fear. Because you think about it like this: it's the U.S. Capitol, dog. It's probably no two buildings more protected than the White House and the Capitol. That's where most of our, you know, the president stays, and that's where most of our politicians go. So how did all that happen? You know what I mean? How did all of that lack of all of a sudden happen on that day? You know, the fact that you even have the audacity to do it is one thing, but what are you teaching the rest of the world? Is that easy? You know what I'm saying? You're teaching the rest of the world.
Is that easy when you look that way? Because apparently, you know, they already showed the contrast between how they dealt with the Black Lives Matter protests as opposed to how they dealt with the Proud Boys protest, and it was astonishingly different.
Way different. And that the part to me is what it's like, you know. And the first thing that really came to mind, honestly, when this happened was when Malcolm X said the chickens come home to roost. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to be Black people that bring this empire down.
No,
it's not going to be that. It's going to be, you know, stuff that's happened within itself with the majority that is right now. They're going to be the ones to do it. You know,
most great empires, when they fall, it starts from within. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely telling Jalen that today. I said every empire that falls, it usually starts within, and that's basically what we're saying. So, you know, it's a sad day. I feel for the officers that were killed. You know, rest in peace to Officer Sidnick, who I knew of since yesterday, but I'm just hearing about a second officer who killed himself. I had no idea. It's a lot of people with blood on their hands, man. A lot of people with blood on their hands. You know, and I think everybody that was involved should be charged, including the president.
Absolutely,
you got to be charged for that. And like I said, if you don't check this, what happens to the next radical that comes up? What happens to the next person that feels like, you know what, all I got to do is appeal to the yahoos of this country, and then we gonna go out and we gonna fuck shit up.
Right.
If you don't check it now, and I mean hard, the politicians behind it, Ted Cruz, he needs to be checked. Hawley from Missouri, the Republican representative from Missouri, he needs to be checked. Eric Trump, Giuliani, all these people need to be, and they need to get the harshest treatment so that they know we will never have another civil war.
Right. And it's, you know, the country has done far worse to people who have said far less. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I mean, we can bring up a million examples, but if you think of like Project Move and in Philly, you know what I mean, where like they literally dropped a bomb on a home that was a part of row homes in a city, You know what I mean? Like, and you know, mainly because they didn't like the rhetoric that was coming from that particular group. You know what I mean? And so when you think at the things that this country has done, like to people who ultimately just, you know, said things that like that folks didn't like. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just talking about the ones who said things that like people in power did not like in the way the country responded. And just, I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, I mean, we could be on this forever. And this obviously is a topic that deserves far more time, but we got to keep it moving. But I will ask each of y'all this before we switch. Do you think they should move forward with impeachment? My stance on it is yes. As quick as they were able to get that judge in place, they can get money out of there. You know what I mean? And like, number one, there was initial concern, and even I thought about it, right? Like, you know, by doing that, they're going to agitate, you know, like some of the more extreme people or whatever who follow him. Who cares? Yo, at the end of the day, the people in power have, like, they literally have an army at their disposal. You know what they're going to do now. Absolutely. So if you don't prepare for whatever comes next, like while you're doing what you should do,
right?
I mean, you know, it's going to fall on whoever didn't basically take the actions that they knew were necessary. But I absolutely feel like he should be impeached. He shouldn't be allowed to run for a public office ever.
He should not receive any of the benefits that that presidents are allowed post term either. None of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he need to crawl up in a hole and die with his bitch ass, and you know, along with whatever whack ass platform he hop on now, with the rest of his racist ass followers and all of that shit.
I definitely think they should go through with it, because the second impeachment means that he can't run again in 2024. For that reason alone, impeach his ass, so we don't ever have to have him running again, man. That's what you need to do. If you don't, what you're running a risk of doing is allowing him to stay in the shadows and to keep building up his so-called
bubbling.
In 2024, they really come back and they fuck some shit up.
Right.
Yeah. We are all in agreement, gentlemen.
Yep.
Let the church say amen. Amen.
Amen. Hey.
We're gonna toast this holy juice.
Right. Right.